Now that you have all these skills, additional skills for editing and making things very interesting using visual effects like chroma keying and masking and particularly blending modes, you're going to get to use them in making a title sequence, which is this week's assignment. So I wanted to give you some look at some title sequences and kind of talk through them to give you an indication of what you should be thinking about. Now these are pretty extravagant. I'm going to show you some student ones after I show you a few from actual television and movies, television shows and movies. And we're going to start with Anne with an E. Now I'm going to let this play all the way through and then we'll talk about it at the end.
First thing we climb a tree, and maybe then we talk, or sit silently and listen to our thoughts, illusions of someday, cast in a golden light, no dress rehearsal, this is our life. You are ahead by a century, you are ahead by a century.
Okay, so this is Anne with an E, and let's see, let's go back here. No, actually I want to be back here. I want to start with this one. Anne with an E is based on some old books called a series of books called Anne of Green Gables that was written in the early 1900s. So that's when it's set. It's about a young girl who's an orphan and her life is pretty dreary and bad. And that's why you see at the beginning of this title sequence scenes like this, perfect graveyard of buried hopes, right? She's an orphan, she has nowhere to go, her life's pretty rough. But then she goes to live with some relatives, and as time goes by, things get a little bit nicer, a little bit rosier, and then things sort of are nice, right? Things are starting to look pretty, things are lighter, and you think about To Sleep in a Tree in the Moonshine, right? So that's what this title sequence shows. That is what the show is about. I do want to say that these images, particularly the ones of hers, these are paintings or drawings, pieces of artwork based on some photos that they took of the little actress that plays Anne. All right, so that's one example. The next one I want to show you is Jessica Jones, and so let's watch this. It's also pretty short. Okay, so there's several things about this. If you know the story, oops, sorry, I keep doing that. Jessica Jones has superpowers, and she was a superhero for a while, but something happened. I think she accidentally killed someone she didn't mean to, and so she stopped being a superhero and became an investigative reporter. So that is clearly seen here, because a lot of these scenes, like this one here, is from inside a car watching people outside the car. There's another one where, let's see, she's looking through some fence at some people. Whoops, dang it, going by. Let me get back over here. I will do that several times in this presentation, by the way. Yeah, so now you see people walking through the scene, right? The other thing I want you to notice about this is that while it looks like it's all animated, these are all video or still clips, right? That one where, let's see, let's watch this. Oh my gosh, sorry. The one where this is someone actually walking. This is a video of someone actually walking. This is really a fence, right? So these are actual video clips that have been layered over with textures and maybe given a little bit of animation here and there, like that right there. So that's a lot of work, but how you can see that you, with your blending modes, you can blend multiple and your chroma and your opacities, you can layer multiple video and or still images to create something really deep and layered like this. All right, let's go to the next one. This is Foundation. This is based on Isaac Asimov's books about how artificial intelligence is going to take over the world, and then many years, like centuries in the future. That's what this is. Where pretty much AI runs everything, and they've made this perfect, quote unquote, perfect society. And this is very ornate. This is all animated, but I wanted you to see the symbolism in it of the humans come back and start to take it back. There's these wars. The humans are going to beat the artificial intelligence, and their perfect society is going to, and civilization is going to crumble. So we'll watch this. It's really beautiful. Okay, I'm going to freeze it here. Now you saw lots of things crumbling, and that's that symbolism. It's very beautifully done. I do also want to say that when you're doing your titles of your credits, get creative with your fonts. Don't just assume you have to use Arial or Helvetica or Times New Roman. Pick something that fits the genre and the feel of whatever you're doing. Here, this is sort of very futuristic text here, paired with a very simple sans serif font. Very nicely done. All right, so here next is Napoleon Dynamite, and you probably know about Napoleon Dynamite, but basically you'll be able to tell what the show is about mostly. And I'm not going to show the whole thing because it's really long, but I'll show about half of it.
Fall is here, hear the yell, back to school, ring the bell, brand new shoes, walking blues, climb the fence, books and pens, I can tell that we are gonna be friends. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Walk with me, soothe and tell. Playtime we will.
Okay, so you see they use really creative ways to give you the titles. All the main actors are presented on food, and then just various things that you might associate with a high school student are used to present the credits after that. Very interesting way to do it. And then, let's see, let's go on to the next one. As a politician, let me pause it for a second. This is a series on Netflix. I'll go ahead and show the whole thing and then we'll talk about it briefly.
Drove to Chicago. All things know, all things know. You came to save us. All things know, all things know. To recreate us. All things know, all things know. We have our minds set. All things know.
Okay, and this one, it is clearly, here I want to, whoop, oh, sorry, I did it again. This one, shoot, I wanted to pause right there. This one clearly is showing what goes into making a politician. And so, appreciation for past politicians. Here that you might have a soft heart, but you really kind of have to harden it with port tar or whatever that black gunk is. You need a good education like Harvard, right, to really get anywhere. And the story is literally that. It's about a kid who has always wanted to be president of the United States. So he's starting out by running for president for his student body, and then each season he's moving up in tiers to in politics. So it very clearly and very adeptly shows that quote unquote making of a politician. Now I'm going to show you a few real title sequences that could have been made mostly from royalty-free sources. I'm going to show you this from Jack Ryan. This is from Amazon Video. And while there are some things that are unique to the Jack Ryan, obviously his dog tag there, a lot of it could have just been gotten from royalty-free sources. So let's watch this. nice here. Let me turn them down. Where it's very clear that in this here, I like the one back here with the baseball. So Jack Ryan, if you don't know the story, is a CIA analyst. He's a desk guy, right? He's a researcher basically, and then analyzes, data that is sent to him from around the world. And he's just a regular guy. Likes baseball. He likes, he rode crew, in the boat when he was in college. Just a normal guy, but he keeps getting pulled out onto location into situations. And so this whole title sequence is about juxtaposing his regular life with this dangerous on location in the action sort of visuals. So it's an interesting way to do it. Obviously this would take you a long time if you were just going to use royalty free, but it shows you what you can do with just some motion and some overlays and cutting to the music. That's a big thing. Cutting to music, no matter what you do, is a good way to go. All right, so that's Jack Ryan, and then we have. Hold on. The Leftovers. And The Leftovers is based on a book called The Leftovers. And it is about this community that about 2% of, actually the world, 2% of the world just disappear. It's sort of like Rapture, when the good people are supposed to go up to heaven and whatnot. And so that's what the story is about. And you can kind of tell, even from this little image, that, there's one of those people that disappeared. So let's watch this.
Everybody is wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody is worried about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, so it's all the same to me. Make out just let the mystery be. Some say once gone, you're gone forever, and some say you're gonna come back. Some say you rest in the arms of the Savior who's been sent the waves of life. Some say that they're coming back in a garden, bunch of carrots and little sweet peas. Make out just let the mystery be. Everybody is wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody is worried about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. No one knows for certain, so it's all the same to me. Make out just let the mystery be. Make out just let the mystery be.
So that one's really interesting because
Hey, rested.
you can see that people just start disappearing, right? That they're in the middle. It's all still frames. There's no video here. They're all still frames. Here, I'm going to mute this. You can see there's a little motion where things are zooming in slightly or zooming out, but you can still see that there are people missing. And the way they did that, by the way, is they just made a mask, like an opacity mask, and cut that out around there, and then they put something in behind it down lower on a lower track so that you could see through that. Very interesting, right? And it tells you, the people are right in the middle of their life and these people disappeared. It's very interesting.